Felicia Michaels, my princess, has been entertaining audiences with a unique
Joey
style
Coco Diaz has
of
been writing
provocative humor
comedy
since the
stages for
90s, all right?
15 years.
With her
You've seen him in
tongue-in-cheek,
films and
she's been
television,
exploring
but
such
his
topics
real
of the
patois,
dynamics
as
of
his
the
father
male-female
say, are the
relationships,
stories from
or
his
as we call
past
them here in
and
the
his
studio,
chaotic
dirty
views on
thoughts,
life that will make
and
this
the
podcast
proliferation
a different
of the
beast.
sensual
Raw
feminist.
pain and
She's a little
passion is
firecracker
how I
rolled
really
up, and that's why I
describe
love
this
her, and that's why you're going to love
New
listening. So
Jersey
tune in, all right?
animal. You know, I just got back from Canada yesterday where I had a fantastic fucking time. And I just wanted to tell you that the Canadians love Joey Diaz.
The Canadians love Felicia Michaels.
Wow, the Canadians kind of like Beauty and the Beast.
Yes, they do.
Yeah.
If you look at the charts and the breakdowns of where our people come from, our main base of people that dig us, it's Canada and the UK. They love me because I can't go there. Do you understand me what I'm saying to you? They love me because they really can't have me. I can't go up there and fuck around with them. If I was up there every other month, nobody come see me. I'd be another fat fucking American, a fat Cuban. But, you know, it goes deeper than that. It goes like the Canadians, like the Cubans, they go to Cuba. Because when I used to work Toronto 11 years ago, you had to stay for 2 weeks at a shop. Felicia, 11 years ago, I don't even know where my material was at. I don't even know what time. I remember
Was this before your troubles in Seattle?
No, this is after the troubles in Seattle.
Oh.
So it was really weird. I was sneaking into, this was before 9/11.
Oh, you were sneaking in.
Right, this was before 9/11.
Remember the good old days when you could sneak into Canada?
Like this. All I had to do was fly up to Buffalo. My friend, this is how crazy this was. My friend in Florida was dating a girl in Florida from Buffalo. And I was telling him the story that I was going to Buffalo. I didn't know how to go through. He goes, dog, done. And I'm like, what are you talking about? He goes, listen, I date this Italian girl and their family's fucking nuts. The father is retired, but he goes into Canada every day to gamble to a casino. He'll be more than happy to take you. It was the dead of the winter. The guy picked me up, him and his wife, like they were my parents. I mean, it was the weirdest thing. No cell phones then, no nothing.
Yeah.
Like I had a call them from the airport, and they're like, we'll be right there. And they picked me up, and they took me to their home. Never met me before. This was all on the boyfriend's hearsay. Went to their house. They said, do you want to take a shower and freshen up? I was like, sure. I'd been on a plane for 7 hours, 6 hours. They made me like spaghetti and meatballs. They talked to me for a little while, and they go, what time you want to go? And I go, whenever you want. They go, let's go. And they had a pass on their window that they didn't even have to stop at customs. They just would go right through, you know, and he would drop me off in Ontario, and I would take the bus from Ontario to Toronto and do the 2 weeks. But even then, with no credits, no nothing, they would book me for 2 weeks in a row, and I would go the first week, and I'd have a men's week. The second week, it'd be sold out.
Yeah.
Because it's the style. It's something that they like it. It's louder. It's obnoxious. You know, I'm not saying Canadians are obnoxious, but that's the way it is. The UK too. Fuck you, bloody this. You know, you bloody cunt. You know, they like me. You understand me? So
I know this about Canada. Like, if they're not going to be that polite.
No,
you know?
they're great.
They're going to throw some honesty up on the stage.
They're great.
Yeah.
I've heard people say, you know what? We go to Toronto to illustrate New York when we're shooting. And the people in Toronto are a little bit more straightforward than the people in New York. I told you the best strip club I've ever been to, besides the Meadowlands Inn where they stuck bananas in that pussy, was Toronto, Canada, right there on Bloor Street.
You know what they call when a woman sticks a banana in her pussy?
What's that?
Chunky monkey.
Oh, shit. Oh, shit. So what happened in Canada when you were up there? Talk to me.
Well, Canada, you know, because I had the operation 5 weeks ago, and I was a little nervous about the gig. And it was in Edmonton, and I was nervous about my energy for 2 shows, like on Friday and Saturday. I was nervous for that, and you know, I hadn't worked in a long time as a headliner since like March, so that's kind of a long time. You know, it's you get a little nervous, you know. And so the first night, Thursday, was fine, you know. The second, and I had a great time on a radio station with these 3 guys. And then the second time on Friday, first show, I was just a little bit off my game, you know. And speaking of Canadians being honest, and I come out and I did okay, but then I got too ballsy and I did a new joke, and the joke I couldn't remember the fucking punchline, you know, because I was all like, oh fuck, because you know how I am sometimes, right? And then people were really rowdy that show, pretty much up front.
The early show.
The early, Daily Show, which is very
Fucking
rare.
crazy. Yeah, this is what I'm saying to you.
Yeah.
This is why I fit right in because
Yeah, it was, and I was like, whoa, because I wasn't expecting it, because I thought, oh, the second show is when I'm gonna have a Cosmo and fucking, brace myself, you know what I mean? But so this guy yells out, "Are you nervous?" And no one's ever yelled that ever to me before, and I was just kind of standing there like, whoa, I can't believe a guy just said that. That's so weird. And then the crowd started to get restless. And then I had to spank the guy to put him to bed. And, I did fine the rest of the show, and I had a great set. But it really threw me off my game, and it made me like a little bit self-conscious, because the middle was this young kid named Jordan Chizowski. And he's Canadian. He's from Edmonton. That's where he was.
Deaf. He knows the local references. That's deaf.
Right, and you know what?
Yeah.
He's talented.
Talented. Yeah, no, that's
knows the local references.
It's always the luck when you haven't been on stage for 4 months that they put fucking Johnny Heat in front of you to work it all week, and you're sitting back there going, "Man, I haven't been on stage." And I know what you went through the first night.
I know. So then, and Jordan is a very strong act, and he did quite well, and the ladies like him and all that kind of jazz. And then he's cocky with it in the perfect kind of way. Like, that's how you should be when you're 22. He's 22. He's been on stage a year and a half, and he's already at that point, right? So you know what I'm saying, right? So I was kind of feeling like, oh, and then Saturday I had really good sets, but and he's real strong. And then Sunday, because you pride yourself, like, I have to be the best I can be. You know what I mean? Like, you don't want the middle or
you don't want to leave
the open micers like, you know what I mean? So then Sunday I walk in, and it was a tough crowd. Like, everyone ate it on the show. You know what I mean? And it was just you could just dread it, and I thought this is a good thing to bring up, because it's like anything that happens to you in life, like, you have a couple of days where you're just projecting a bunch of bullshit, like, oh, that person thinks I suck, and this person, and why aren't there, but it could be about anything in your life. And then you'll have another day where you're even going into a worse situation thinking, oh, this is gonna suck. And you know what? On Sunday night, I go on stage and weirdly have the best set in my entire life. Joey, I got a little bit of a standing ovation afterwards, and I thought about it as I got up 4 hours later to fly home to be with my children, where they'll greet me with hugs and sloppy kisses and then demand to know why they can't play M games anymore. But I was thinking that whole trip back home, like, wow, that I do that a lot. I go into a situation and I pick out everything that's negative, you know what I mean? Because I'm so insecure, like, and I have to defend myself against this and be aware of that. When the truth is, you're just having a couple of shitty days, and then the next day could be the best day in your entire life. You know what I mean?
It's that's beautiful, because I do the same thing. That's a great analogy. But you had a great time.
I had a great time, and I had a really great time because I learned, you learned
about yourself a little bit.
Yeah.
And it's amazing that when you do anything in life and you learn about your limitations, that it really fucks with you for a couple of days. Like, wow, I did that. Remember when you first started comedy, Felicia, and you did 8 minutes, then 13, then 22, and then one night you were the middle, but the headliner didn't show up. And the guy's like, stretch, bitch. And you did 48 minutes. And you walked off stage floating. Like, you couldn't even fold to go into your car. Like, how long did I do? 48 minutes, Joey. And you sit, it's mind-boggling. The limits, and it's with anything. Last week, when I first started this little exercise program 4 years ago, I remember one day the bar had no weight on it. And that's 35 pounds or 45 pounds or something. And I go, let me just try this. Here I am, 400 pounds. I couldn't lift 45 pounds. Like, I had no strength. And the other day, was I telling you this? I was telling my wife the other day, some guy was lifting at the Y, and he had 135 pounds on the thing, and I was outside hitting the bag. And as I walk in, he goes, hey, I'm done here. I go, you know what? Leave that on for a second. I go, do you have 5 minutes? Can you spot me? And I told him the whole story. I've been fucked up for 4 years, and I just want to try this. He goes, go ahead. I benched it like 4 times.
Oh, really?
So it's like, here I was scared to even go close to the 35-pound weights, the 45-pound plates. So that changed my whole outlook for a couple of days. Like, now I want to go to an aerobics class in the morning. Like, the last 2 days, like, I've been gearing up to go to like a step class, like at 6:15, like a total body tone, because I feel I won't pass out. Like, you never know. And when you feel you could push, you have gone the limit. Like, Felicia, tonight, if I can make it to 32 minutes, I'd be fucking happy.
Yeah.
If you know those nights.
Oh, yeah,
you fucking know those
yeah.
nights when you're like, Joey, I can't believe you got me out of the house. I haven't been on stage in a week, and now how long do I have to do it? I'll fuck with you.
Oh,
Gotta do 48 minutes. Joey, Jesus fucking Christ.
It's
and all of a
hard,
sudden,
yeah,
it's like
yeah.
you got 18, just do 18, Felicia. And
Yeah.
at 18, you're like, fuck you, I'm not getting off.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And you're
Yeah.
like, and all of a sudden you get off there, and it changes your whole outlook for a week.
Yeah.
Like you just have that glow, like you just got the best fucking piece of ass you've ever gotten, and sparkles came out of there.
Oh,
and
absolutely, right. Yeah.
It's an amazing feeling when you see your limitations. I always fuck around and I talk shit about Jennifer Aniston, but people always take me in the wrong content. Like, I'm mad at Jennifer Aniston because she's so hot and she let that fucking Momo steal her husband. Like, I'm still pissed at her. Like, I would have demanded, like, I would have gone over there and said, before anything, I'm going to throw you the biggest piece of pussy. And remember I told you I didn't suck cock? Well, I'm going to suck the vine out. I'm going to suck the bone out of that fucking boner. I didn't like that she just laid down and the magazines made all these tabloids about it and they follow her. That's the part of Jennifer Aniston I don't like. But I like the other part of her. And yesterday, I was watching the Actors Studio. I was folding clothes. I was doing laundry, you know how you fold clothes? And I was just going, I was killing time, and I was going through it, and also the Actors Studio. And I clicked it on, and sometimes I don't even give a fuck who's on. I just put it on and listen.
Right.
Just to listen, even if I don't like the actor. And she was talking about, what a great story. She was talking about when she fucking came here. Like, she did some fucked up movie about a leprechaun where she had a yell.
Oh, yeah.
And they asked her, like, what'd you think about that? And she's like, so tell us about Friends. And she goes, well, here it is, plain and simple. I was having doubts. She goes, I was having fucking doubts. Doubts about everything. My life, I was 26. Should I just go have a kid? She goes, you're a fucking woman and I'm in LA at fucking casting calls. And she goes, you really start to think about your womanhood. And she goes, I was in this weird place and all of a sudden I got a call to go read for this fucking pilot. And she goes, that was a Tuesday at 1 something in the afternoon. And at Wednesday, they knew it. I had the job. And Friday, the producer took us all to Vegas, sat us down for dinner. And at the end of dinner, he goes, here's $500 cash apiece. Go walk in that casino, because that's the last time you're ever going to be able to walk in a casino again. How fucking great is it?
Oh, wow.
He goes,
wow.
go spend every dime and enjoy yourself. Because remember what I'm telling you, that's the last time you're ever going to be able to walk into a casino. And she spoke about what she's given up in her life. She gave up her life for fame in a way, how she has no privacy. The whole thing about that. But it was such an amazing story, how somebody just said, here, go do it. Like, I love all those little things. That's why I love Rocky. Last weekend, Rocky, the 4th of July weekend, Rocky was on. And people watch these movies and they talk about this part and how tough he was. There's one part in Rocky that is so brilliant that you don't catch. Nobody catches it. When the loan shark, this street piece of shit, goes up to him and he goes, here's $500. And he goes, I don't think I'll be able to pay you back. And he goes, it's not a loan, it's a gift. He goes, kick it towards your tranny. He goes, and he turns around and he goes, you know what? I think Lady Luck is in your corner for the first time in your life. When people say those little things to you, they just, and that's part of what you're saying, just that something happens that changes you forever. What a great fucking thing, you know what I'm saying? So.
Yeah. By the way, I don't mean to defend Jennifer Aniston.
No.
I like her movies. And I think, good for her.
I watch Rockstar.
But I could tell when I watch her, she's not my type of chick, and I'm not her type of chick.
I could tell.
But in defense of her, how can you win against Angelina Jolie? Look, if your husband starts fucking Angelina Jolie or a chick of that magnitude, you can't get that back. You know what I mean? Unless you're going to embarrass yourself. No, you
go
can't.
over there and throw that monkey on him, like the big
no,
black kahuna. Let me tell you something. Jennifer Aniston is a
you got to throw your monkey on someone to keep someone.
Very, very, very attractive woman, and that's why that's always baffled me. But anyway, we're back, bitches.
Beauty and the Beast.
That's my girl, Felicia Michaels.
Joey Diaz.
I got this email I got to talk to you about because it goes with, you know me, I'm a Celebrity Rehab fan. We've had this discussion on the show.
Yes,
Have you watched this season at all?
No.
It's fucking retarded. But the guy that's on the show that gets under my skin more than anything this year is Michael Lohan. Lindsay
Oh, I saw
Lohan's
a
father.
commercial for that. Yeah.
Okay, Lindsay Lohan's father is a pathetic guy that's trying to get this attention, and he'll do anything to get this attention. Like domestic violence and arguments, and it just never ends. So he's in there yesterday. I'm watching I taped it on Sunday, and I was watching it last night. And he's talking about prison, how you guys don't understand. There's these perverts, and they put pictures of your daughters up and put a dick in her mouth, and I gotta get sick. And he fakes this whole, like, I'm sick, and Dr. Drew with his fucking Momo ass is like, oh, Michael, and I sat there, and then I'm like, this fucking idiot. And then I went to bed, and I got up this morning, and I was answering some emails, and we got an email from a gentleman in the UK that's a part-time, has a family, and he is a part-time electrician, full-time electrician is where he has a business, but he also grows weed, and he got busted for weed, and he's got to go away now. And he contacted me, and he goes, I love the podcast, I love what you and Felicia do. He goes, I was wondering if you could be my pen pal. Weren't we talking about pen pals last week?
Oh, really?
And it broke my heart.
Yeah.
It just got to me because I understand when you're inside, and I was like, absolutely, let me know when you're going away. I'll give you my address and let's start this thing. But he also wrote, can you prepare me mentally for it? And it's so weird what people think of prison and what it really is. It's just another day in the life. And then we have a lot of young kids that listen to the show, and I'll fucking tell you, are there black guys raping people and shit? I never seen none of that stuff. I know that you have to walk a fine line because you're dealing with people that have no reason but to stab you. So I want you to understand, prepare yourself for that. Like this guy, at least, this electrician, they're telling him now a year in advance that he's going away. Me, I had it beat till the Friday before. So I was going on sentencing Monday, and they called me Friday and told me the bad news at 4 in the afternoon. Would I have stayed if I would have had 6 months? I don't know. I don't know if I would have stayed. Would I have gone to another country and fought extradition or something? But it's really weird how you prepare yourself. And there's some people that can't handle that. It's like you go into your surgery. It's the same kind of mentality. Mm-hmm. You're going away. You're going away for whatever, 3 years, which is 18 months. I tell you what, 3 days in jail is bad enough when you have a life. And everybody has a life. You have a kid somewhere, or a daughter, or a family, or somebody who loves you. It's always rough. But I was thinking about how to answer him to prepare. It really fucked with me. It took me like an hour. Like I had to smoke 10 joints and drink 2 cups of coffee. And I was like, what the fuck do you prepare? And how do you prepare? The only thing you could tell somebody about prison that, and I tell people, like I went in there and my chuck and jive continued. I'm not going to lie to you and tell you, my chuck and jive continued. Yeah, you got into a couple fights because, like I said, there's people in there that have nothing to lose. They got 22 years, guy. They're looking for fucking shit, And I just told them to do your own time and do it in your head and have a preparation when you go in there that what you want to come out like. Like, even though I was fucked up at the time on blow, on the bus ride in, I thought about what I wanted to get out of this place. I had never been in a situation like that before. I had been in county jail, a night there, a bail here. But it's fucking so weird because when you're in there, you don't see rapists and people aren't going to fuck you in the ass. But you have this reality that comes into your soul. Like, this is life. This is the other side of life. You're not a human being. You're just a fucking number and a piece of meat. I said it before on the podcast. There's nothing worse, Felicia. I don't know what... I feel to take your womanhood, somebody would have to rape you, right? To really take your womanhood. Like, for me, it was somebody kicking my bed in the morning.
I can't answer that because I've never been raped. And I mean that, like...
But it's just imagine, like for me, I think the worst feeling ever was when people would kick the bed and wake me up, Felicia. That's horrible. Can you imagine me kicking your fucking bed in the morning going, bitch, get the fuck up. And you can't say nothing to me or do nothing to me. Those were the things that got to me the most. That it attacks your manhood. Like, you don't feel like a man no more. You're really a piece of fucking meat, And no matter how hard you try to be a man, you're a fucking piece of meat. And that fucks with some people. That's why some people just stay in there, and that's what I told him. I go, whatever you do, don't get caught up in that, in the rattle, the bullshit. Do your own time, because you have people that only want to come out for a week and then go back in there.
How long does he have to do? Did he say? Or?
I think 3 years, so I don't know how the English system works. I don't know how the English prison system works. I don't give a fuck. If they put you in Lompoc in San Francisco where you play golf and you have your own room, it's still time. It's still time away from your loved ones. It's still time away from your life. I don't know what that is. I don't know. At that time, I didn't have a life, really. I was just living for today. I was making money. I didn't even know what the fuck I was doing. I wasn't dealing in it. I was just, But it's amazing when somebody takes your freedom away. It's a fucked up feeling, Felicia. And when you say it to somebody, you're like, oh, somebody takes your freedom. What's that? Fuck, Felicia. When somebody reads your letters before you get them, when somebody fills up your kids when they come to see you or your loved one, can you imagine somebody filling up your kids? You know how embarrassing that is? So those are the things that bother you more than the actual time. The time, after a while, you become buddies with somebody, you have the same interests, whatever the fuck, So all I can do to prepare you is that's it. It's just do your own time. Read some books, do some push-ups. If you want to lose someone.
Do they really play golf at Lompoc Prison?
Fuck yeah.
Are
The
you
federal fucking
really?
prisons, they play tennis. The federal prison system now is a little tighter, but in the 70s, you had furloughs, 3-day furloughs. Your wife could come on the fucking property and fuck your brains out for 3 days in a trailer. They made you go out and clean the roads. You see people on the roads.
Were you on a chain gang ever?
For about 3 days. Then they realized I had a driver's license. So they said, you're useful to us. So what we want you to do is to take a truck and go to all these sites, and then they'll give you the garbage, and you take it to a place in Golden. So I used to at least have freedom and drive around, you know what I'm saying? But from August to November, I didn't see daylight. Like, I was up in Summit County Jail in Colorado, which was fucking great. That was the playground. It was funny because I was thinking about a guy, Felicia, I never told you this story, about a guy that I met in there, just to let you know how fucking crazy the police is. This guy was a gangster from Brooklyn, an older guy, and he went to Colorado to leave, like he had a warrant in New Jersey or something like that, and he got pinched in Colorado. Listen to this story. And while he was in there, he went to the police, and they said, listen, man, the mafia's looking for me. I owe a bunch of money. They already know I'm in this fucking jail system. I want to become a witness for you guys. And they were like, yeah. This is 87. They're like, yeah. What can you do? And he goes, let me out. I can make buys. At that time, there were these guys from Panama that were taking over Colorado. And he's like, I know these guys personally. He didn't know anybody. He goes, I know these guys personally. I can make a buy. I'll call them, blah, 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 blah. No worries. They were like all hot. The feds came in. They're like, let him out. They let this motherfucker out. And he said, I'll make some buys. So he goes, don't worry about it. Give me 3 days. Put a cop on me. Put a cop in my house. I'll set up a buy. He went to a payphone. He called some friend of his that was Spanish. And he talked in Spanish, like half Spanish. And he hung up and he goes, it's set for Monday at 4 o'clock at $30,000 cash. They set up this house. He went and he goes, they won't tell me the location till Monday morning. Give me the $30,000. You can follow me there. He had the whole thing rigged, Felicia. He went in through the front and he had a friend for him waiting for him in the back, and he took off. He was on the run for 2 years before they fucking caught him.
Oh, really?
So can you imagine that? He walked, and the feds never thought of covering the fucking back. He walked through the front and walked right out the back. He said he climbed the fence, and there was his buddy in a car, and they took off. He took his wire off, threw it on the fucking floor. The house was empty. It was a for rented house. They broke in and put curtains on the front and put the house light in front. And the friend answered the door. They locked the door. They ran out the back and into some fucking car. And he was on the lam for 2 years. He was in Summit County. And for some reason the other day I thought about that story when they caught Whitey Bulger. They made such a big deal.
Oh, I was thinking about that when you were telling that story.
You know, he was on the run for 16 years. What's the big deal? After 10, let him keep running. After 10, you didn't do your job. You ain't no fucking genius. You're the fucking FBI. It took you 16 years to fucking find Whitey Bulger. And it's so weird. I've always said that. When you hide, don't hide. Go right in front of them. You got to go right in front of them because they never suspect that. I mean, he's from Boston, so they weren't looking. But he was on Santa Monica with dogs, walking them every day, waving at people. Vote for me. That's crazy. $500,000 cash in his fucking house. 16 fucking years. That's the other reason why I didn't run before those 3 days, because they always catch you in the and they always catch you at the worst time of your life. You know, because when you go to a hospital for stitches, they run your name.
Yeah.
and they fingerprint you if there's a problem, right in the fucking hospital, dog. There's no beef in the hospital. So what happens if you're driving your kids to school and you get into an accident? Boom, there you go.
Yeah.
You know, wait a second, your fingerprints came up as somebody else. We got to take you to fucking jail. So I don't want to get involved in anything like that, you know what I'm saying? But I just want to talk about that prison thing because television and the media always scare the fuck out of people. Like,
Oh yeah.
they
yeah.
always scare the fuck out of people. And if you're a man and you carry yourself the right way, nobody will mess with you. If you go in there playing games, they'll light you the fuck up. I was in there when they lit some people up. A lot of people in there make believe they're selling drugs, and they'll go to you and they'll go, listen, Felicia, call your wife, call your husband, and tell him to Federal Express $200 to my wife. And the next time she comes for a visit, she'll bring me an ounce of coke, and I'll give it to you. I'm just making up numbers, you know?
Right.
So a lot of times people just say that. You'll call your husband, get him to wire the money, or meet you on the outside. A lot of people meet on the outside there, and they'll give you money, they'll bring in drugs. A lot of people don't even have drugs set up. They just want you to wire them the money.
Right.
And I've seen people like that get beat the fuck out.
Why would they do that? That seems pretty stupid.
Because that's the way people are.
Yeah.
People, you know, obviously they're in jail. They're not that much of a genius. They got caught somewhere along the line. I mean, let me tell you something. The smartest people I met were probably in prison.
Really?
Yeah, because, listen, no matter how smart you are, you're very smart. But when you're dealing with other things, you're dealing with other people. And that's when it gets ugly. That's why drugs are really bad, because you got to go out in your belly and sell them. You got to be out there dealing with people, unless you're a kingpin or something. But even then, I don't know what Felicia's doing. What if Felicia goes to drop a kilo and she gets arrested? Then she comes back looking for another kilo with cash. She's been doing this for 20 years. That's how easy it is. That's how easy it is. But there's some fucking smart people that they devise this type of stuff. You know, the mind, I mean, somebody told me something when I was on the inside, and it made a lot of sense. Think if you took all your energies and put them into something good. Mm-hmm. Well, there's some people that take their fucking energies, the way you create a joke, we create the podcast, and they just divert it into whatever. Like I was telling my friend the other day about that thing I told you on the podcast, the people who invented the fake dildo. And they never invented anything. They just put a picture of a dildo that spread water in your asshole, and it put ice cubes and all this shit. It was impossible. But everybody in the country sent $29.95 for it.
Where was this?
This is 15 years ago. Some
Really?
company, 10 years ago, some guy, some two young kids in college came up with a fucking a dildo that was small, that had a little hose in the back and it sprinkled water in your asshole while the thing was buzzing, and flames shot out of it. It was just amazing. It cleaned your car. It was $29.95. Guess what?
What?
All they do was put an ad in Penthouse, you know, all those dirty magazines. They got 100,000 orders. Everybody paid with a cash for $29.95. They had nothing. What they did, remember I told you this? They took a check with a big black dick on it and sent it back to people. So in those days, there were no ATMs, so you had to go in and cash your check. Are you going to deposit a check for $29 with a big black dick on it, Felicia? I don't fucking think so. I think like 3 people did out of 100,000. So these people ended up keeping, you know, 90,000 times $30.
Did they get in trouble?
No.
Oh, wow.
Because the people didn't cash a check. They didn't rob you. They sent you a check back.
Right.
But in those days, there was no ATM that you could just whoosh, and go on with your way. You know what I'm saying? It's like the old days. You had to take a box cam and take pictures of your friend's dick and her pussy, whatever. And then you have to drop them off, and then you get the pictures, and everybody's laughing at you when you pick them up. Those days are over with now. We got laser printers and all that shit, right? You take a picture of your pussy, you press a button, zzz, there it is, right? The privacy of your own home. I never took a picture of somebody's pussy, but
really?
I'm just saying.
You never took a picture of somebody's
I never
pussy?
did no sex. I wouldn't have the heart to ask, you know.
Have you ever taken a picture of your own dick?
I think so. I think a girl took a picture of my dick once as a joke. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
And was it hard? Was it soft?
It was hard. Why would you take a picture of a soft fucking dick?
I don't know. The conversations
that's
we
like
have
taking
to
a
go
picture of
anywhere.
an empty
I don't
fucking
know.
pool. You know what I'm saying? Would you take a picture of an empty pool, Felicia?
People probably take pictures of empty
because
pools.
they're fucking momos. You know what I'm saying? Not because they got anything on the ball.
That is hilarious.
I would never have the heart to, as fucking crazy and as fucking disgusting as I am, I would never have the heart to put a camera up and tape a chick while she was sucking my dick. I don't have that type of patois. If she was a dirty, fucking, filthy animal, I would ask her. As a matter of fact, I'm lying to you. I did have a chick suck my dick on tape one night at Mike Favorman's house, but she wanted to do it.
Really?
Yep.
Yeah. And did it show your face or just her face?
I think it just showed her face. We were playing like I was President Clinton at the time. This was a fucking weirdo at the store. She came to the store on a Sunday night, and she was hotter than hot, Felicia. The glasses, the big fake tits, the nice ass, tan. She said she was a school teacher, brown hair. You know, I looked at her. I'm like, she's not in my league. You know, why am I even gonna talk to her? I'm gonna keep my little gram of coke. You know what I'm saying? Like if there's like if she was a coke snorter or something, I may get it, but I'm in no danger. She was up there making out with Mike Young on the stage and shit. It was classic. And then while Mike Young told her to get off the stage, she went and blew somebody else. I went back on the stage and ended up making out with Mike Young. And that was the first night.
After she made out with Mike Young after she blew someone up.
It's hysterical.
Really?
Hysterical. And then the second night, I was not at the store. The second night was a Monday.
Does Mike Young still do comedy?
Yeah, he's still at the store.
Yeah.
This was a Sunday night. That Monday night, I'm at my house minding my own fucking business. And I'm like, man, I gotta go get a bag of weed. At that time, I didn't have my license. And I went to my friend's house. And I go to my friend's house, and there's 3 comedians, my friend, and that chick, completely naked in the living room. She had fucked all 4 of them. And they're sitting around eating popcorn, watching a movie like nothing happened. She's got a towel around her pussy and stuff. I walk in like, what's going on? They're like, you remember? I'm like, hey, what's going on? They're like, we just had a gangbang. I mean, this was something surreal. And the next thing you know, they're talking. I get the weed, and they're like, Joey, you want a fucking piece of this? And I'm like, nah, I'm all right. And she's like, you know what? They started fucking around. Let's do an improv. Let's do you sucking a dick and all this stuff.
Shut
This is crazy.
No.
And she's like, okay. It gets worse. I mean, she blew me, but I brought Ricky with me.
So you guys were doing a gangbang and sketches at the same time?
At the same time. So I get there, and they had already fucked her and stuff, and then we did a sketch like I was Mr. President. Like I was the president, and she just sucked my dick. And at the end of it, she smelled my balls. She goes, your balls smell. After you suck my dick, that's like, you know, before you're supposed to say it to somebody before you suck that dick. Why don't you go wash your ball? I don't know what the thing was, but it was funny. The next night, she went back to the store. I was not there, and she ended up fucking somebody from Saturday Night Live in a car. Like, this was just the 3 days of just...
How long ago was this?
This had to be 10, 11 years ago.
Oh, yeah.
This was before Terry. This was right before Terry, like 2 months before
And
Terry.
they videotaped it?
They videotaped it.
So there's a videotape
Who
of you
knows? He said he lost it.
impersonating Clinton getting a blowjob?
Yeah, he said he lost it. He taped over it or something. It was years ago. It was fucking crazy, this poor girl. And here's the crazy thing about it.
What kind of lines would you say when you were Clinton?
Who the fuck knows?
Well, I just want to know how your impression of Clinton goes.
I didn't say. I didn't even impersonate him. You know,
yeah, you didn't even hold up his thumb like how he does when he makes a point.
No. She's like, Mr. President, awesome. I want to suck your dick or something. That was the sketch. That was it. I just sat there and got my dick sucked. You know me. I'm a fucking method actor. I'm not breaking away from nothing. You know what I'm saying? I mean, what the fuck? But I've never done a tape with people. Like, I could never ask a woman to take a picture of a pussy or take a picture of her from behind, even though it's a great picture.
Really? I've asked a guy to take a picture of his thing.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
I know you have. How many pictures you got in your wall then?
In my what? In my phone?
How many pictures do you have in your hidden compartment?
Quite a bit.
Quite a bit. I figured that.
Yeah. Actually, I don't save them all, and then the guys always say, "Make sure you erase it," and I never erase them.
Fuck no! You show your friends and shit at parties.
But you know what? The thing is, they're not showing their faces. You know, they're not showing.
So you would let somebody take a picture of your pussy without your face?
Oh no.
All right, because I take a picture of your snatch right now. I don't give a fuck.
No.
Without you, we'll put on the Beauty and the Beast webpage, and for a piece of banana bread, a contest. Guess whose pussy it is? You know what I'm saying? It's funny because when we do the podcast, sometimes we do them and then we drop them and then people enjoy them and we move on. But when we leave, you always leave like you're like, fuck, I didn't mention that. You know?
Yeah.
And then you can't tell the story over because people listen and they go, oh, he told that story already, or we told that situation or whatever. We mentioned and it's funny, yesterday when I left here, Ari was in a bind, so I had to go by Ari's and do his podcast, and he talked about prison. And I was thinking about how you were saying one time that, Jesus, you know, Terry put up with you for all those years. And I'm like, Terry did nothing. Terry did nothing. Terry's a sweetheart of a woman. And I always thought about how the type of person I didn't want to be. I didn't want to drag people into my life. I was never one of those people that, people that are fucked up, but they drag people in with them. I never liked that shit. You have a problem, do it yourself. When you get your shit together, come back and we can hang out. But you can't have a relationship with people and half the time you're in jail, or if their phone's ringing and you need bail money, it just gets on people's last fucking nerve. Especially a woman, No matter how much they fucking love you, after a while they're like, dog, this has to come to an end. I can't keep doing this every week. So I never really put Terry through that angle. And I never really put anybody, like my early friends growing up, I tortured them a little bit. But I was thinking last night, me and I were talking about crimes and stuff. I went on like a tear for a while. And it was the weirdest tear because I had so much to lose, but I didn't give a fuck. And that's when you really check yourself, when you're like, fuck. Here, I thought I would stop doing dumb shit when I had a family or something. But with me, it was the opposite. I went on a fucking tear. And there was a moment when I got out of prison and I was in a halfway house and she got pregnant. And we've never discussed it on this show that when my ex-wife got pregnant, like, I lost my fucking mind. Like, I hate being painted against the corner. And that's what I felt like in my head. Like,
oh, I know. You do not like that in any kind of form.
But it's weird when I've never been painted against a corner. You paint yourself into a corner 9 out of 10 times. You just put this added pressure on yourself. We all do at different situations of our lives. And then you look back later on it and go, was it fucking worth it? It was no worries. I had insurance. But in my mind at that time, I kept thinking that I was going to be broke. And I would just went on a tear. So I had a day job. I sold drugs. I loaned shark money. I fucking stole shit. I curbed cars, which is when you sell cars illegally.
Oh, really?
I used to curb fucking cars, Felicia, with school money. So I would sign up for the University of Colorado for 18 credits, like my buddy taught me. And then I would drop to 9 credits part-time and take the rest of that Pell Grant and that Plus loan and all the loans they would give me. And I would come to you and say, Felicia, what do you want for your car? And you'd say, well, I want 10, but I'll take 9.87 cash. So I would go home and take your car without your knowledge and put an ad in the paper. Like put an ad in a weird paper, like a different paper. I was great at it. Real quick. I had accounts on all these weird papers in Wyoming and shit, the Wyoming Gazette. This is fucking crazy. I've never talked about this shit. And I would put the ad out in the paper for your car. But I would put it out at make offer. And somebody would call me within an hour and go, hey, I live in Cheyenne, Wyoming. What is the interior? It's mint, blah, blah, blah. Everything's deciding on final expansion. I'm not here to rob nobody, which I never was a thief. I never changed speedometers. That wasn't my bag. I just knew that there was a living hustling people with cars. Like, Felicia, you want 9,000, but I got to need 700. I got an idiot up the corner that wants 9,100. Even if I had a chance of making $400 in a day, that's $400 fucking dollars.
Right.
20 years ago, that's a lot of fucking money. 5 times 4, that's $2,000 a week. That's $8,000 a fucking month. That's $96,000 a year.
Tax-free.
Tax-free that nobody knew about. But you can't curb cars unless you can only curb 2 a year or 3 a year. They know.
Oh, really?
So you have to use other people. So I would have to use like your sons or your identification. And I would say, guess what, Felicia? You're a car owner today. And you'll go, oh. And I give you 200 cash, and you wouldn't give a fuck. It would nothing. It would never come back to you because you know it was legit. I just curbed cars. Did you know that? That I curbed cars.
So then people would say they would want the car, and then you would go back to the guy who has the car, and what would you do? You wouldn't steal the car, right?
No, I'd give him the cash he wanted.
Oh, right.
Or I'd take the guy's cash that he gave me. All I do is, it's so fucking easy.
Yeah.
It's a little bit of driving, and you got to do some title work and stuff. But, so I got to go from here to Crenshaw and pick up a car. Okay, you meet me over here on the corner over here. Give me a certified check.
So tell me, after your wife gets pregnant, what was a typical day when you wake up at the halfway house?
A typical day at the halfway house. You ready for this? You're gonna fucking die. Okay, a typical day at the halfway house. I get up about 7. And I'd run. I'd run on Boulder Reservoir, the path. And then I'd go back to the halfway house and take a shower and take orders for blow.
And how old were you at this time?
Let's do the fucking math, 25, 24. So I would get up, go for a run, 25, 26, go for a run, and then go back to the halfway house, switch into a suit. Even if I didn't have to go to work till 2 or 3, I'd switch into a suit. This was the first time I was in the halfway house. We got some fucking wild shit here. So I go into a suit, and then let's say I wouldn't have to be in by 2. That's when I would do all my running around for the blow in that suit. I would have to sign out to an address and a phone number. So if they would call the dealer would say, Joey's here, but he's on a demo ride. Mm-hmm. We'll have him call you when he gets back. And I had a pager. And they would page me and say, the halfway house is looking for you. So I would pull over to a payphone, any payphone, and go, Joe Diaz, what's happening? Oh, we're looking for you. Where you at? Give us the number you're at. And they called back, and that was it. They knew I didn't have a residence. I was always on demo drives. Mm-hmm. So I could be fucking selling blow. So I didn't have to be in till 2. So from breakfast, I would go every morning to the Harvest restaurant in Boulder, the best. Get the Swiss granola with the Harvest iced tea. Mwah! And that would, in my mind, erase the cocaine in my system. You know what I'm saying? Like, this will get me healthy. The run and this will get me healthy.
This is your crunchy granola.
This is my
crunchy granola part of your life,
This
right?
is pre-fucking wedding. This
Yeah.
is pre-wedding when I'm trying to put away money. And then I would go to Mitsubishi and work. And at the time, they had the Eclipse was the hottest car in America. And I was selling those at sticker. People were calling you from London.
Yeah.
Hey, man, I want a red Eclipse. I got it, but it's sticker, and you got to pay for shipping. And people would just not even see the car, sight unseen, wire money. It was amazing. So I would sell a bunch of those. I would curb cars. I would take a course at night sometimes, but I didn't have to be until midnight. I talked to halfway house. I didn't have to be until midnight.
Get
I
out
was
of here.
level 4, yeah.
So what time were most people having to be in?
9.
Oh, really?
And I was in midnight, and I could sign out at 6. All I had to be with there was 6 hours a day. I had them down to a science. But in the meantime, away in the coke, it would go through your system. It goes through your skin. So I gave them a hot UA and shit. But then I got married and got out. I got married, went on the honeymoon, got out, did blow, and then I fucked with them for months. For 3 or 4 months, that's when I put the fucking pool cleaner on my dick and tried to piss in the fucking thing.
I forgot about that.
I put the Drano on my dick and pissed in the fucking thing. That was that thing.
Yeah.
So in like October, they put me back in the halfway house because they know I'm selling blow. They fucking feel it. They know it. They know that the tests are coming up weird. Like I'm having small amounts and shit. So they write me a letter and they say they're going to violate my community corrections and they could have sent me back to prison. Here's my wife, 6 months pregnant. They're like talking about sending me back to prison. And we had to go all to the courtroom and just say, fuck it. He's going to go back into the halfway house. So they put me back into the halfway house for 3 months. And those were the scammingest fucking 3 months of my fucking life.
Why?
Because I didn't sell cars now. I told them I was detailing cars. And I got all their calls to my pager. So I would sign out to my fucking pager. I had nowhere to go. I would just get up in the morning, get in my car and say bye and leave. And I go to a dealer and hang out, like a car dealer, and hang out. And then I go to like people's houses and smoke dope and sell coke. I was gone all day. It was fucking amazing. That's when I really got into curbing cars.
Yeah.
I really got into it because it was very easy. You don't have to do no work. I like my days. Even before comedy, I loved my fucking days. I hated working my days. So I just fucking worked for myself. That was it. And I had this little garage on Canyon. That was my headquarters. I paid $35 a month for this little garage. And in that garage, I had a punching bag. I had a weightlifting bench. I had some weights. I had some dumbbells. I had a jump rope. I had a ghetto blaster. I had rolling paper and weeds. Do you know how many girls I slept with in that fucking gym? Do you have any idea from that halfway house?
From the halfway house?
From the halfway house.
Oh, really?
Because they had girls on the bottom floor. It was fucking crazy. It was fucking crazy the things I did in that office. I had that office like for way before I went to prison. Because it was a garage for rent. The guy wanted $35 I love all that shit. A garage, your little getaway. I would open it and close it, fucking lock it, and I would just sit in there and lift weights and smoke dope by myself. It was in an alleyway, so nobody knew I was in there at night. It was just amazing that, and here's the funny thing, they put me in the halfway house till, and I was telling Ari this, I go, Ari, it was one thing after the other. There was never a dull moment at that time. Every day there was excitement at that house. So here she is married to me. She has a job like 3 days a week. I would leave the halfway house at 6 or 7 and just go home. And she was pregnant. I'd hang out with her in the morning. She'd be furious. She'd go to work, and I'd stay at home and do whatever the fuck I had to do, weigh coke, whatever the fuck angle I was doing. And then she'd come home at night. We'd eat dinner, and I'd go back to the halfway house at night. So it was horrible. Here she is, 7 months pregnant, 8 months pregnant. You have no fucking idea. And the guilt and the fucking they put you through, you know. But it's really funny because this whole time I'm not doing blow, but I'm selling blow.
Yeah.
And she knows.
But wasn't that hard not to do blow as you're selling?
At that point, I just wanted to get through this sentence and get it over with.
Yeah.
But I didn't want to stop selling blow. I had such a lucrative I didn't sell blow in bars, nothing like that. I had 4 customers. I had one guy that bought a half ounce, one guy bought an eighth, one guy bought another eighth, and I just buy an ounce, sell it, and then take the rest and give it away. I'd just make like $1,000 and I'd sell it at the halfway house and give it away. Somebody'd say they want an 8-ball. It wasn't like I was selling half grams in the street and people were calling me. No, I just had certain people that just dealt with me. I had this little Mexican gangbanger that always bought coca from me, like half ounces every 3 days. So he had me on the payroll. I would just go to somebody, pick it up, and bring it to him. That's it. There was no drama. It was just known. Even if I didn't have the cash, I'd go to the guy, bring it, and then bring them the cash back. So it was just a part of my day. And it was such a weird fucking lifestyle, Felicia, to wake up in the morning and have zero and know that your whole lifestyle is banked off of criminal fucking enterprises. Like beside the car salesman, which really wasn't criminal, it was legit. But that was how I got around and did all my shit. I had a friend on the East Coast that worked for UPS then, and he was robbing the UPS trucks, and he couldn't sell this shit in Jersey, so he would UPS it to me in Colorado, and I would sell this shit for him and then send him the money back. I mean, Felicia didn't end. And then they let me out of the halfway house February 2nd. Her due date is like the 9th or something like that. They let me out on the 2nd, and it's a huge snowstorm. I'm talking about one of those Colorado fucking 2-foot snowstorms that just hits out of nowhere. Like you wake up that morning and the flakes get bigger and bigger. I'm saying this because people have no fucking idea, and this leads to a story. You know those big motherfucking flakes that all of a sudden the sky turns gray in Colorado, and you're like, what the fuck? It was 60 an hour ago. A lot of people don't know about those. This is how it is in Colorado. When I got out of the halfway house, it was beautiful and sunny. And my wife was 9 months pregnant, and we went to this New Orleans type place in Boulder, Lucille's. It's only open for breakfast and lunch. Tremendous. They had the bayonets with the fucking, tremendous, with 3 eggs. So the spicy food must have fucked her up. So we went back home, and between me just getting out of the halfway house and shit, just the stress, we both fell asleep. I basically woke up. Like when I went to bed, it was 60 degrees at 11 in the morning. When I woke up that night, there was 1.5 foot of fucking snow. It was one of those, you know what I'm saying? Like, you can't describe it to people unless they lived in Colorado. Like, you go to bed and you wake up like, oh, I'm going to take a walk. And you're like, what the fuck happened? And it was one of those, and she's like, my water broke. Oh. This is to top everything off. This is like the top. This is how much bad luck I had on me. It was such a bad chain of karma. I was doing so many bad things. I was chucking and jiving, Felicia. I was the king of it at this time. I was chucking and jiving. I was not going to pay my debt to society. Don't worry about it. I just got out of the halfway house. Her water breaks. I'll never forget this. I go outside. It's 1.5 foot of snow. She's in the back going,
well, I mean, she's about to pass another human being.
I'm not feeling bad. I'm just to add to the story. And I go outside, Felicia, and you dig your car out. You clean the windshields off. You start it up. You clean the ice, the whole thing. You got to dig it out. You got 1.5 foot. So you got to get in the fucking car, start it, and then back it up a little bit and dig it. There's 2 feet of fucking snow. And I pull the car out, and I go inside to get my wife. And as I pull out, some guy, the neighbor from upstairs, is trying to go into the parking spot. And I'm like, whoa, 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 whoa. I go, I just dug this out. My wife had a baby. No, I just cleaned this out. I'm the bottom one. And he goes, fuck you, motherfucker. And he spits at me. I'm out of the halfway house. I'm out of the halfway house a fucking 24 hours. This is why I know about the kiss of death when I talk about Chael Sonnen, that you had to do something bad to have this. Like, that means you never stop. Like, your whole day is committed to scamming. So I'll never forget, this guy spits at me. And I look at him like I'm out of the halfway house, and I'm like, this just didn't happen. I go up to him, I go, what the fuck is your problem? He closes up the window. So he turns off the car and he gets on. He goes, "That's my problem, bitch. I'm taking this parking spot." And he was one of these guys that was crazy at night, would walk around all night and shit.
Oh, really?
So I didn't know what to expect. I hold off and fucking smack him in the face with everything I got, with a full fucking thing. Bam! And we start going at it in the ice. And let me tell you something, Felicia. I fucked up my foot. And I slipped, and this motherfucker was punching the shit out of me. I'm on the bottom, and he's punching the fuck out of me. And I could feel my head hitting the fucking ice. I had snow in my face, like we were wrestling in the snow. It was getting into my neck. It was cold out. He's punching me, but one of the punches he threw, I caught his arm. This is way before jiu-jitsu and all of this shit. I caught his arm, and I must have thrown him off balance, and he slips. So I get on top of him, and I'm fucking pounding him now. And I can see the blood coming out of his fucking ear, and I'm pounding him. And as I'm fucking pounding him, I hear, "Wah!" And I look up, and there's 2 fucking cop cars with their lights on. And I'm like, ain't this a bitch? I'm going to go to jail. And my wife's giving fucking birth. This is never going to end. My life is never going to fucking end. And they get out, they pick me up, they throw me against the car, and they throw him against the car, and all of a sudden a 3rd cop car comes. And it's this big guy that I had known from the car wash. I used to work at a car wash in Boulder. And he goes, "Joey?" And I go, "Yeah." He goes, what the fuck's going on here? And all of a sudden he got to me first. Thank God. They got to me first. And they're like, "What happened?" I go, "Bro, my wife's giving birth. Her water fucking broke. And this dumb fuck," this is a complicated story. I go, "This dumb fuck," I dig out, and this dumb fuck spits at me. And he goes, "If I had the chance, I'll spit again." So now I got him. Because he's bleeding and shit. I'm like, I'm going to go to jail for assault. There's nothing I can do.
Yeah.
And they're like, "Joey, what happened?" So you fucking went in the spot, you know? They're like trying to smooth it out. The other cop's like, "This is an assault charge." And this cop's like, "Wait a second, dog, this guy's a good guy. Let's just smoothen this thing out, you know?" And they're like, "What happened?" And the guy's being a jerk off to the cops. And they're like looking at this like, so here, I was going to jail, Felicia. If this guy would have been a decent Republican, I wouldn't be having this conversation with you right now. But because he was a jerk off, the cops looked at him like, "Really?" They had a huddle. They come back. They go, "Here's the deal. Both of you shake hands." I'll never forget this, Felicia. I put my hand out, and the guy goes, "I ain't shaking his fucking hand." And the cops look at him, and they go, "You know what? You weren't doing too good when we got here. We'll just let this beast on you again, motherfucker. Shake his fucking hand." And the guy shook my hand, and the cops are like, "What address are you?" And I go, "I'm 14, whatever." You know why the cops came? Because my wife was moaning so loud and somebody thought I was killing her. They were coming to investigate domestic violence, that somebody had heard a woman moaning. I never told you about that? So the cops took her, put her in the cop car. I followed the cops, and we all went to the hospital with the fucking sirens on. That's how you do it, motherfucker. She was in the back going, "Oh.
Back of the car?
In the back of the house. So the window was open.
So she didn't see you fighting the guy?
She didn't know nothing about the fist fight. She knew nothing about the fist fight. Nothing. When I came in with blood on my hand, she's like, "What happened?" And I go, "You're not going to..." And that's what I'm saying. That poor girl went through 3 years of me leaving to go get bread, coming back 8 hours later with a body. That poor girl went through fucking hell. I know this story has nothing to do with what we're talking about. Yeah. But it's so weird how you asked me that and I forgot. Like, I was like, I never put nobody through hell. And I was like, yesterday when I was telling Ari.
Oh, that's why you're
That's why, because I'm pissed because you said that to me that day. And Terry went through nothing. Terry went through one bad night with me. The night I stayed out, and then I called her at 5 in the afternoon. And she went to work. And when she got home, I was puking white on the carpet. Like all the fucking pills and cut was starting to come out of me. And after I seen that, like I never put it through that again. Yeah. Because you just can't put a woman through that all the fucking time.
And then that happened while you were doing drugs?
Yeah, that happened like 6 months into us dating.
Oh, really?
I went home with her. I was having a great time. And at 4 o'clock, some people called and they're like, "Dog, we got a dropping over here, over on Curson. You either coming or you staying." I said, "I'll be there in 2 minutes." That at 5 when I left on Sunday afternoon, they were just ordering the fucking final ounce of blow.
So what did Terry say when you were tossing your cooks? Like, what did she think was going on?
That night, she didn't say nothing to me.
But did she think she knew?
The next day. Terry's not the type of person that'll say something right away. She'll say something the next day or the day after. And she just said it. She goes, "Dog, what I seen, I didn't like what I seen. It was fucking terrible. I never want to see it again." She goes, "I don't deserve it." And you're right. You don't. Nobody deserves that. You know, she goes, "You want to do that shit, do it on your own fucking time. But don't get sick in my house like that." She goes, "I didn't know what to do." It was like that white shit that comes out of you when it's and it was such a bad like night. Like I kept eating those Valiums. I kept popping them. They had a bowl full of them, so I kept eating those things with the Y in them. You have the old school with the V's in them. And it was so funny that 3 days later I was driving and I was still high on the Valium and I was at a light. And I was like, when is this fucking feeling gonna go away? And I was at a light in her neon. And I'm sitting at the light and all of a sudden I could feel something coming up. And I'm like, am I gonna get sick in the fucking car? This was 3 days later. And all of a sudden, Felicia, it's right here. And I put my hand like this, like to look for something, because I'm at a light on fucking Sunset. And I can't hold it. You know, like when you have a hose and you squeeze it, and all of a sudden it busts and little holes start squirting? That's how it was out of my hand. So the puke was squirting out like this, but the best was that one piece went right up into the top of the thing. And after I cleaned it and everything, like 10 minutes later, I'm sitting on a light, stinking like puke with the windows open. And all of a sudden, one last drop just fell on my fucking eyebrow.
That is so disgusting. Oh. I hate when that happens. One time when I was just starting out doing comedy, and I lived in West Hollywood in this huge apartment building that had underground parking, and I was working at the Comedy Store, and they used to make these Long Island iced teas that were quite delicious. And I opened my car door, and I just threw up like a splat, like, you know. And then for 2 years after, because it was such vile bile that it ate up at the concrete, and like for 2 years after that, I'd have to walk by and see the splat every time I would pull up or get in my car or drive off. It was like such a nightmare, you know. What I mean?
You know, that's one of the reasons why I don't really drink, because it doesn't agree with me, and I get sick, and I kept passing out and then getting sick in my sleep. I'm one of those guys. I got that Bonham disease. It just doesn't agree with Uncle Joey. Like, there's nights I'm hanging out with you, and all of a sudden everybody's drinking. I'm like, I wish I had a fucking Zambuca.
Yeah.
You know, as something as simple as a Zambuca, which doesn't do anything to you.
Yeah.
And I'll take a shot of it and put it away, and I would go home, and the next morning I'd wake up into a room of fucking puke. One Zambuca. The other night in Irvine, when I was working with those guys, look at, man, I'm fucking 300 pounds. How many drugs did I do? How many joints do I smoke? I was craving, and the people that hear this are going to fucking send me a dick to stick up my ass after I tell you this. I was craving an amaretto and milk.
Oh my God, here's a dick right here.
You ever crave an amaretto and milk? Have you ever had an amaretto and milk on ice?
No.
Delicious.
No.
It's not about getting drunk.
Kind of drinks,
it's not about nothing. It's just about, it's a delicious, fruity, nutty drink. Say what you want. I don't give a fuck. You know what I'm saying? It's just amaretto is almonds, so it's a nutty little drink. And amaretto and orange juice ain't bad if you just want to. Sometimes you want to drink and not get hammered and be sociable.
Right.
So that's what it's called. They're called sociable. So you don't get fucking plastered after your third drink. We're trying to talk business. And so I learned that in my mother's bar. My mother used to say, when people come in, I drink sociables, dog. Hers is Cointreau, which is horrible, but it's delicious. Cointreau on the rocks is delicious.
Ugh.
Cointreau, you ever have it?
Yeah.
You have it inside. You have it inside.
No, I know. Yeah.
That's why that day I drank it. I could drink Cointreau straight. Cointreau is what you add when you want to make a real margarita. When you want to be a little pussy and you want to add sweet and sour, 3 ounces. Go ahead with your bad self. But once you become a true fucking cocaine professional, you don't want to miss no fucking nothing. Cointreau is what you add to the fucking. What else is it? It's tequila, Cointreau, and something else to a margarita. Grenadine or something. I don't know. I'm not a bartender no more.
I'm not a bartender, yeah. I know how to make a Cosmo. I put a little Cointreau in my Cosmo.
Oh, please. Yeah. Cointreau with fucking...
Yeah. But
anyway.
I don't know why people would drink it alone.
So I fucking drink an amaretto and milk. Do you know, an hour later I got in the car and I was hitting the lines on the 5. Like, that's how low my resistance is to alcohol.
Oh, really?
Like, I can't, because I'm not a drinker.
Yeah.
But you give me 3 lines of Coke and your booze fucking collection might be done.
Yeah.
Like, I'm one of those guys. You give me powder, psh.
Oh, you can drink when you do Coke.
Yeah. Oh, please. I will. All these people that say I can drink, come around me.
Yeah.
Because I do those Budweiser 12 ounces, 1 shot.
Yeah.
I'll do a line in a shot, dog. I'll do 4 of those before you can even blink. And you're
do
like,
it one more time, Joey. Wow.
Oh, I get down with no delay.
Should do that. You should do that next time you eat pussy. You should do that move right there.
What that?
Yes. I'm touching touching myself. I'm touching myself. Finger goes down.
You're such a disgusting, filthy animal on a Wednesday afternoon. You know what I'm saying? But it's just so weird, the things you think about now. And again, if you're young and you're listening to this shit, I don't want you to get involved. But when I talk about little things on Twitter and people get mad at me on Facebook when I talk about Chael Sonnen or karma, people don't know that I am the king of that shit. And I know when shit's out of whack because you're doing something that's out of whack. When shit's out of whack in your life, it's because you're doing something that's out of whack.
But you know what, Joey? I was talking to, I told this to 2 people already now, because last week you had said that your mom used to say, if the deal sucks from the beginning, it's going to suck at the end.
All the way through.
And I told 2 people, I told the activity partner and my niece, because I felt that was so powerful when you said that, you know, and it's true. When you look at something and you're going through, you know, or you just meet someone and it's shitty in the beginning, you know what, it's going to be shitty
all the way
end.
fucking through.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes, and we don't know it now. I mean, we know it now because you're older. But when you're 20 or 25 and you meet somebody and you're involved in a relationship early on, it fucks up. And here you are fighting to save this relationship for some reason unknown. Maybe because they're good and bad or because they lick your ass. Or it's just something. And all of a sudden, years later, you're like, was it worth saving that fucking... It sucked from day one. It was a lie from day one. And have you ever seen like a relationship... You and I seen something one day that we both collaborated on. We're like, that's not a relationship. That's something weird, you know. You could spot it. When a relationship is based on lies, it's not going to last. Yeah. You know, I like these people that have an affair with somebody. They cheat on somebody else, and then they hook up with that person and think everything's going to be fucking rosy. Yeah. I've never understood that one. You're like, so wait a second. This is your... What? How? Are you fucking kidding me? Seriously? And you think this is going to work from the beginning? Yeah. It sucked in the beginning.
Isn't it weird when you meet people that are a couple and you're like, what the fuck is going on here? Because when I didn't do comedy, I worked at a digital capture firm. I think I might have talked about this before. But we were going to go photograph or be the capture firm when this photographer photographed Brittany Murphy. And it turned out it was her husband and I think his name was Simon something.
Yeah.
And
Brittany Murphy's husband.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a weird couple.
And it was at the athletic club in Hollywood, which is they play pool and upstairs.
No more.
Oh, really?
It's gone. Yeah.
But it was really like it was kind of cool inside how they painted it or whatever. And he was photographing her, and I have to tell you, like that was fucked up. Like their dynamic was so weird and. And it was just, you know what I mean? Like when you meet certain people and you're like, yeah, something goofy's going on. I heard
it was based on drugs. Their relationship was like...
I don't know.
Yeah, it was something
I remember
weird.
He handed me a camera, and I think he was shooting with a Hasselblad in it and tethered to the computer, and I was one of the assistants, and I take the camera, and he smelled like Coke and cheeseburgers to me, and the camera was all sweaty.
Cocaine and cheeseburgers?
Yeah, you know that smell when people, Kinnison used to smell like. I can tell that smell because when being at the Comedy Store in the old days.
Kinnison used to smell
like that. No,
that is a classic. I know I smell like it.
That. I bet you did too when you were in the midst of it all. Yeah. Like it just smells goofy. And he handed me the camera, and it like when we left the premises after we packed up, and a lot of us were like, that was fucking weird, you know. That's such a weird day.
You could see it when a relationship is based on lies early on, like a promise is made or something. And she sticks around, and it's
or if people have a shared downfall, you know, they have a vice that is shared between 2 people.
Yes,
that's the worst.
Yes, that's really weird, and that's why I think Terry and I really work, because Terry likes to drink. I have nothing. I like to smoke. Terry doesn't even like the smell of it.
She doesn't.
She just tolerates it because it's around. It's like, you know, lettuce. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I like drugs. She doesn't. I've been in relationships that didn't last at all. When the chick was a cokehead and I was a cokehead, that's not going to work. And I knew that's not going to work.
No, that can't work.
Oh, or even 2 drunks is not going to work.
Yeah, that can't work.
That lasts for a long time.
How about 2 people that smoke pot?
Yeah, because nobody gives a fuck. You want to suck my dick? Not really. Okay, I'll just smoke another joint. You know? I mean, you know.
Pot as birth control.
It's so weird how some people smoke pot and they just smoke pot, and then some people are heads. And it's a really... It bothers me that there's a big difference, you know.
Like, what do you think the difference is?
Somebody does it recreationally and talks about it, and then there's heads that you know ahead. You could tell ahead. You could, their whole demeanor about weed. They don't talk about it. They know if you need weed, like they'll look at you and go, "You need weed," and you're like, "What are you talking about? How'd you know?" I could just know, and they give you a bud to go. There's different people that are just sympathetic to the head need. You know what I'm saying? And you could just tell sometimes that just, I don't even know how we got on this.
Yeah, people that go, "This bud's for you."
Yeah, and you're like, how'd you know? You know, and everybody has saved your life once in a fucking while with weed. You know, like when you least expected, somebody is giving you. But I don't even know how we got in this conversation.
Well, I would like to say if people would like to email us, because we have the best emailers on the planet.
Always.
You can email us at Beauty and the Beast podcast
at gmail.com.
That would be lovely. And anything else would you like to add?
Not really. I'm all right.
Oh, I wanted to talk about when I was in Canada that I was walking around. And it's the biggest mall on the planet. It used to be the biggest mall in Edmonton, where the club is, and they used to have dolphins in this mall. And Edmonton is middle fucking Canada, and they used to have dolphins in the mall. And I remember when I went there like 15 years ago to play, and I used to watch the dolphins, and I would think, God damn, if those dolphins knew how far the real fucking water was, they would have anxiety attacks. Their left flipper would go numb. You know what I mean? They would just freak out. And sure enough, I guess quite a few of the dolphins died, and now they have sea lions or something like that. But it's the biggest mall ever on the planet, and I'm walking around it, and I think there's a mall in Dubai that's bigger. And this guy walks by and he's like, "Felicia?" And I'm like, "What?" And he's like, Beauty and the Beast, right? And I'm like, "Yeah." And it's this young kid, Justin, and he's like, "Oh, I was just walking around and blah, 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 and I'm going to the show," and I put him on the list. And
he emailed you.
Yeah, it was really cool. He was one of our emailers. So I just wanted to give a shout out to Justin, and that was my first experience with being recognized in a different country from Beauty and the Beast. And
it's amazing. It really is amazing.
I want to say thank you, Justin. And then quite a few other people came out from the podcast. I'm going to actually be in Minneapolis in the second or third week of September.
What's the name of the club?
The House of Comedy.
House of Comedy.
Rick Bronson's House of Comedy.
It's really weird that we're getting to meet you people. Like I said, the story last week about Monkey Todd. We're getting to meet you people in the weirdest way. This is like an extension of the Pen Pal 2013. And I appreciate all you people, whether you come to shows or not or whatever, or just communicate with us on Twitter or Facebook, or just listen to the podcast and get something out of it. Thank you very much for being there.
And you know what the funniest part is? When people come up to you and they're like, "Yeah, we listened to Beauty and the Beast," and they look at you and it's like young guys or something, and I'm like, "Oh my God, they know exactly how I like my pussy to be eaten. They know everything about me."
They're trained. They're trained.
I know. And they're just looking at me like, "There she is."
They're trained.
She likes, little lick, big lick.
And it's just an amazing fucking thing that through a podcast we got to meet so many cool people and have different conversations with different people. It just blows my mind where this is going. So I'd like to thank all you motherfuckers, and thank you for listening.
Yes, thank you.
And we'll talk to you next week. Stay black. Mwah.
This one's for Justin.